welcome to another episode of The Diplomats, brought to you by The Briefing, a weekly threat assessment of the diplomacy community. I can highly recommend signing up to their email bulletin at diplomacybriefing.com, where you can find past issues, most recently containing an insightful article by Jason Masbaum, who was crowned DBN's Diplomat of the Year last month after he emerged victorious in the DBN Invitational Tournament. I'm Wardy. I'm joined by Mr. Eric Grinnell, and we are taking over the channel to bring you coverage of the Nexus Season 7 finals. All you Ed lovers out there, don't despair. The reason he isn't here with us is because he's playing in the game. So there will be plenty of Ed content to keep the fan club thoroughly engaged. Last time out, we brought you coverage of the power selection via Paris method. Do check that out if you haven't done already. Spring 1901 has adjudicated, and we will be discussing that in today's episode. Eric, please introduce yourself and tell us what you're looking forward to seeing in this game.
Well, my name's Eric Grinnell. Some people don't know me by Eric Grinnell. Some of the Nexus players only know me as Lex Luthor. And I was asked by Ed to step in and engage in the commentary because of my views on primarily on tactics. And I got to tell you, my experience in this Nexus tournament and playing with these guys has been amazing. I love to criticize people when they're not agreeing with me, that they don't know how to read a map. And watching these true masters play the game, what I'm really learning is I don't know how to read people. And it's just not true. I do know how to read people, but I've never bothered to put forth the effort to do so when playing diplomacy and in the hobby. And watching people do it well and watching people use it to succeed at the game has been really educational for me. And I got to tell you, watching people do what people have been telling me to do for years, and I've been giving them the bird, combined with a lot of talk therapy and some really top-notch pharmacology, is helping not just to make me a better diplomacy player, but to make me a better person. And I really appreciate being asked to participate in this. I love the opportunity to be involved, and I really want to thank Ed for bringing me on board for this project. And I want to thank every single person in this game for being really entertaining and being a blast. And I hope my commentary does you guys justice.
You've shocked and stunned me at the level of diplomacy you're engaging in already, sir.
Like I told you, lots of talk therapy and some really good pharmacology.
While you are in sunny Florida, is it?
Yeah, I'm in Florida. I'm in Flagler Beach. Flagler Beach is a dog-friendly beach in a dog-friendly town. And my wife and I decided to bring our two boxers here for their first beachside vacation. This is our first time being out since coronavirus hit. And between a heart attack and coronavirus, this is our first vacation in going on 3 years. And I'm living the dream. And like I told you yesterday, to be able to walk up and down the side of the ocean and engage in the game of diplomacy at the same time, that's living your best life. And I'm loving it. So thanks for asking.
Well, you're rubbing it in somewhat because you're in sunny Florida. I'm in a very overcast and quite drizzly northwest England. We seem to have had, our week of summer for the year. It came in March and it's gone. So I'm indoors. You have nice, beautiful, colorful, three-dimensional flowers behind you. I've just got 2D. That's where we are. And if you saw the power selection the other day, you will know where the players are as well. We have Ewok in France, Jordan in England, Ed in Germany, Krill in Italy, Tarsia in Russia, John in Turkey, and Karthik in Austria-Hungary. Is that what you expected?
I didn't know what I expected. The one thing I know I did not expect was Jordan and Greg to willfully put themselves next to each other.
Okay.
I didn't expect that. Given the open commentary that Jordan has engaged in, Greg must really like France. Greg must really like France, because unless they got a prearranged deal, and I don't think either one of these are the type of guys to do a prearranged deal, them voluntarily putting each other next to each other surprises me. And everyone knows what an alliance player Ed is. So I think this entire game right now is going to be about Jordan and Greg competing to see who can win the loyalty of Ed. That's what I expect. And having watched the Paris Method draw, having watched the video that you and Ed put together, the East just seemed to kind of fall into place at the end. And part of that has to do with, well, they didn't get their first pick. Although Italy was really happy with their pick. And I think that was Krill. Krill was really pleased to get Italy. And Spencer seemed pretty okay with Russia. I'm not sure I'd agree with him. I'm not sure I'd like to be in Russia with those three powers in the West being what they are. But nonetheless, the East just kind of seemed to kind of fall together at the end of the pick. So I'm really eager to see how those guys sort themselves out diplomatically.
Okay, interesting. So let's have a look. If for those of you who are familiar with following Nexus finals before, and not just finals, other events as well, you'll know that the artwork of the very talented Lady Razor has become a staple in the hobby, and I feel as though I've made it. With only dipping into the Paris method last time. I have my own caricature, and I seem to be morphing slowly into, well, maybe not that slowly, into Ed Sullivan. So go American sports team. Come on, you wide-brimmed horns or whatever. I believe that is offensive, so I'd best not do that to upset the Texans.
I gotta say,
how do you like my new look?
It is so American. You need to move, man. Come on over. Come on over to Kentucky. We'll go boar hunting together. All right, you look great. I'm really jealous of the artwork. Lady Razor's artwork is amazing. Does a real service to the hobby. And everyone should express gratitude to them. And
absolutely fantastic. I feel I need to smoke a cigar now.
One of my goals through these broadcasts is I'm hoping that I behave well enough that the NADF will let Lady Razor draw a piece of artwork about me as well.
Fortunately, I'm a Brit, so they can't get me. So yes, thank you, Lady Razor, for that. But there are more important people who have their caricatures, and let's have a look at them one by one. We have seed number one, Island Greg. Still a bit of bags under the eyes on Ewok here, but slightly well rested on his Iron Throne, resting on his laurels perhaps because defending champion. He's enjoying I'm guessing that's a pina colada there, which he might well have been doing last week. Partly there's a delay to the game because Ewok was on holiday in Colombia, and he's going head to head with your shirt here.
Well, I know it's in a coconut, but I highly doubt that's a pina colada. I think the most appropriate thing for Greg to be drinking there in that photo is the tears of his enemies.
Maybe my tears for not making it.
You could have made it. You didn't listen to me.
Let's have a look who else he's done. The underdog's underdog. Let's hope there's more room for success in this finals for Jordan. He's not had the best of luck previously. We'll see how that goes.
I know Jordan very well, and I can guarantee you, no matter what the outcome is, at the end of this game, he's going to have a much happier look on his face. Jordan is one of the most amiable guys in the hobby, and we're lucky to have him.
Let's see. Let's see if that frown becomes a smile, turns upside down over the course of the game. Let's have a look who else we've got. We have Ed Sullivan, Go Horns Gossip. What do you make of this?
I got to do more prep work for these shows. This is my first time seeing any of this artwork. Look at that beautiful evening wear. Ed, at least you got something good out of the divorce.
And now he's lost his channel as well. Oh well, but always one. Well, his aim is to be popular in these games, right? So he will be sort of sending long and varied press to people. He seems busy on the phone in this one, and a couple of very.
I'm not trying to be mean by making a joke at his expense. I don't want to get Will Smith or anything. The way I figure it is, he's editing this, so if he doesn't like my joke, he could just cut it out.
I bet he probably packs a bit of good punch as well, Ed. So he's got another call coming. So do we. And here is the board master with his very loud dog. For those of you who watched my interview with Krill the other day, and that was with quite a bit cut out as well by Ed. And the laser cutting device, like some sort of Bond villain, not because he's that evil, but he, for those of you who don't know, he does make these beautiful diplomacy boards that you should check out. And
Krill's boards are indeed beautiful, and I've always been an admirer of them. Everyone knows that I'm a sore loser, but I'm never more of a sore loser than when I go to a tournament and I fall short of winning a board that's made by Krill. His boards are the best trophy in the entire hobby, and the entire hobby owes him gratitude for his hard work. He does amazing stuff, and I'm a huge fan.
Brilliant. If you fancy one of those, you can win one if you go and win the whipping tournament in California coming up.
Well, I hope the people that are allowed to go enjoy that tournament.
Here we have Tarsia, or as he's known to Lady Razor, apparently Ewok's dad. And the mentor is encouraging little Ewok here to give Jordan a bit of a kicking in the rear. CND badge and all.
Do you know Lady Razor? I don't know Lady Razor. Do you have a conduit? Because I need someone to ask them. Did they make Greg look like Hitler on purpose, or am I just pantsing myself to my own biases by thinking that looks like Hitler?
Is it the hair or the nose?
It's the eyes more than anything.
It's got the aggression in his eyes.
Yeah, it's the eyes. He's got Hitler eyes.
There's that sort of combed fringe as well, which I'm just jealous of. We have two bald men covering these finals, and I am so excited my hair is standing on end. How about you, Eric?
What's hair?
Good question. And we have two together here. I got some good scoops with the interviews with John and Karthik the other day. I think John didn't realize at first that His answers would be would be seen and heard by the other players. I just think he just happy to put it out there. He was singing the praises of the central triple.
Well,
is
all
this
I can
thing on
say
an
to
open plan?
all I can say to John and Karthik is ask any politician in the world, and they'll all tell you it's 2022. Every mic is always a hot mic.
True that. I'm hoping that we don't fall foul of that rule. Right. So what do we have here? We have some moves. We have Spring 1901. Let's get down to business.
What an amazing board. What an amazing board.
Sometimes you get some really sort of boring Spring 01s. This is not one of those.
This is not a boring Spring 01. And it was really funny because in the Discord commentary, as we were waiting for Spring 01 to post, everyone was like, why hasn't this game posted? Why hasn't this game posted? Did you click final? Did you click final? Now we know, because the diplomacy was fast and furious.
Mm-hmm.
Fast and furious. The only two conventional opens on this entire map are Austria and Germany. I think Karthik opened conventional because he didn't really have a lot of options as Austria, and Ed opens pretty standard because creative thinking just isn't his ball of wax.
We've stamped him already. He's not here. We've taken over his channel, and this is already the stick he's getting. So yeah, those are pretty pretty standard, as you say. But look at everybody else. We've got a bounce in Armenia. We've got Venice to Piedmont. We've got Channel and Wales by England. This is pretty saucy stuff.
I always raise my eyebrows a little bit when I see Marseille support Paris to Burgundy, but I think I understand why Greg did that here, because he knows that Jordan has expressed some hostility publicly. I'm a little surprised he didn't bounce the channel, but Forced Burgundy is a good alternative, because Forced Burgundy, that handles Germany as a threat and it handles Italy as a threat. Because if he wasn't sitting in Burgundy, he then has to decide between, do I go for Spain and risk Marseille, or do I not risk Marseille and give up a build? And Forced Burgundy gets rid of that dilemma. And it's a really smart move. Forced Burgundy as France, when you're worried you may face a lot of hostility from your neighbors, is definitely the smartest move to make. And I think that France did the smartest moves he could do in this situation, as opposed to Turkey, who I'm pretty sure made the most foolish moves possible.
So well, this French move is a good move if you're worried about being jumped on by all your neighbors and you want to guarantee a build at least.
It's outstanding. It's really outstanding.
So yeah, you mentioned Turkey there. Bouncing Armenia and sneaking to the Black Sea.
I misspoke, by the way. Turkey wasn't the one who was foolish here.
You meant Russia.
Russia was the one who was foolish. Okay. Anytime Russia tells me that they will bounce in Armenia, I always move to Black Sea. It's so devastating. If Turkey is truly hostile to Russia here, and if they've coordinated with Germany about Sweden, Russia is getting no build. And Russia here is hard pressed to stop Smyrna from going to Armenia in the fall anyway. This bounce in Armenia move is always a bad bet for Russia to make. I just don't like it. I don't like it. So
what was the
it's
pitch
not-
from? Are you expecting this was a pitch from Turkey to Russia?
Well, I believe the standard, if you're going to bounce in Armenia, is that you're going to send a car to Constantinople to get it out to Aegean for a fast RT open because you're worried about an AI. And AI definitely look friendly here. It's not super fast. We're not seeing a Kilopanto. We're not seeing anything that makes us think that Italy is going to loan a unit to Austria to get going quick. We don't see Italy getting 2 builds here, but Italy and Austria are still looking friendly. So
yeah, Turkey doesn't have to worry about Aegean here, do they?
Yeah, not at all. There's definitely an AI here, or at least an AI who have agreed to not fight right away. The interesting question, looking at this map, looking at these orders with that move to Black Sea, is whether it's an AI versus an R&T who don't have their act together yet, or if it's an AIT.
What would you expect to see if it is an AIT?
In the fall, I would expect to see Karthik is going to make sure he gets Greece. He's not going to buy any line. Serbia is going to support Albania to Greece. Okay. I'd be very surprised if Karthik did not use Serbia to support Albania to Greece.
Okay.
However, Turkey is in the Black Sea. There isn't any reason in the world that he can not deny Russia the build for Romania. So I think it'll be interesting for fall moves to see whether Turkey stuffs Russia or not, it keeps them buildless, or whether they do some kind of reconciliation and Turkey does something to let Russia into Romania. But if he does let Russia into Romania, I hope he takes it from Ukraine, because a fleet in Romania is
it's not effective against Austria, is it?
But Turkey. So the interesting thing here is Ed has to see how much trouble Russia's in. I wonder if he's going to let Russia into Sweden. And a very, very cagey Russia-Turkey will do that sometimes. A very cagey Russia-Turkey will make hostile Turkish moves that makes Russia look in trouble, because it gives Russia the political leverage he needs to talk Germany into letting him have Sweden.
So do you think there's a chance this could be staged?
Because of the level of play, anything's possible. These are all very smart, very capable players. If I were on this board, I would be dead meat by 1904. I'm too direct. I'm not dissembling enough. No ally's going to trust me enough because of my reputation of how aggressive I am. No one's going to trust me to try anything cagey. But these are much better players than me. These people have real relationships. These people have reputations of being able to be alliance players. So we're not going to know anything until fall 01. Spring 01 is nothing but a bunch of buts, what ifs, and maybes. Fall 01, I think, is going to reveal a lot.
So let me ask you an if then. If this is arranged between Russia and Turkey, what do they do in fall?
In the fall, Russia will use SEV to support Ukraine to Romania, and Turkey would move Black Sea to Khan. And then you got the army in Smyrna. And if it's arranged with Russia, he's friendly to Russia. He's got 2 choices with that army. He can send it up to Ankh, or he can send it to Syria. He can't send it to Khan because the fleet's going there. He needs to get out of Smyrna because he's going to build a second fleet. Yeah. He can't go to Armenia because Russia is his ally. The smart move here is to drop down to Syria. That kills the Lepanto cold. It makes Italy look at his future prospects and frown a little bit, and it increases the likelihood of being able to coerce Italy to jump on board and do something hostile to Austria.
Interesting. We'll have to see if that's a thing or not. But that seems like, if it is arranged, that seems like a big old risk by Russia, because Turkey could just renege on that.
It's the real risk here is Turkey puts 2 on Rum and causes a bounce. Beyond that, there's not a unit in Armenia right now. Okay, so being in Black Sea is no direct threat to Russia. He's not going to lose Sev. Okay, that's the whole point of pitching the bounce in Armenia. It's like, hey, look, maybe you don't trust me. Maybe you're worried about Black Sea. Let's bounce in Armenia. Now you know that I'm not going to have 2 on 7 to fall. That's the way you pitch it. I just think it's a horrible pitch. I think bouncing in Armenia and letting Turkey into Black Sea, I just don't do it. I never do it. I never do it. But as will be my theme throughout this commentary, that's because my strength in the hobby isn't relationships. Okay. And as I do the commentary and as I watch this game unfold, that's what I'm going to be paying the most attention to, because that's what I have the best opportunity to learn something about here.
I have everything to learn. So hopefully from the players, from you, from just absorbing, even people commenting on Nexus, that'll be very useful to me.
The number one lesson I hope you got from last game is, if someone tries to throw you a solo, let them. The people who are listening might not know this. We were in the semifinal game together, and we had an opportunity to do an IT, but it didn't happen. And I don't blame you. I'm not the most trustworthy guy. I've got a reputation for being very aggressive. I'm sure you had Ewok in your ear pointing that out. And so you probably made the most judicious decision you could have made.
We will cover the semifinals going forward as well, to sort of drip-feed content during the game. So I look forward to that. Okay, what else do we have? Let's have a look at the this Italian opening. Just, can do a Lepanto, gone to Apulia, that can convoy to Tunis, if he likes, or Greece for that matter. But
very Austria friendly. Very Austria friendly.
Yeah.
It's a slow Lepanto open. It's a slow Lepanto. Now the question is he wanting to play in the West? Is he going to move to Tyrolia? Did he get co-opted by Jordan to put pressure on Greg? That army in Piedmont can do a lot of different things. And there's been a lot of commentary about playing Italy in the last couple of years, that Italy's big advantage is it always has a free unit or two that you can move around the board, do crazy stuff with. So just based on what we're looking at here, we really can't tell what the point of being in Piedmont is. I'm very eager to see what he does with it. Even if he's hostile to France, he now has to decide what he's going to do with it. Marseille has to go to Spain. Marseille has to go to Spain. France has that fleet in Mayo, and that looks like it might be a build, but it's really only a push. He's got to decide whether I'm going to take Portugal or I'm going to cover Brest. And if he makes the decision to take Portugal, he's risking giving up Brest. So he can't count on Portugal as a build. All Portugal is, if he even goes for it, is a push. The only guaranteed build he's got is Spain. Yeah. So what Italy has to decide is, do I, and it's going to be purely based on diplomacy and what he hears. Is Burgundy going to cover Marseille or not? If he knows Burgundy's going to cover Marseille, let him. An army in Marseille guarantees that France isn't going to build a fleet. If he knows that Burgundy is not going to cover Marseille, then either he wants a French ally or he wants 2 builds. But if he doesn't know, he's got to go into some game theory. And if you're Italy and you're in Piedmont and you don't know what France is going to do, you kind of been outplayed. That force in Burgundy has taken that away. And that one army in Piedmont, unless you're gonna skip that convoy over to Tunis, take Tunis with the fleet, and build another fleet, that army in Piedmont isn't going to accomplish anything.
Yeah, if Krill is, if this was meant to be anti-French and hostile to Greg here, Krill must have been disappointed when he saw this adjudication, this move set from France, because yeah, it's difficult. I mean, what else does Burgundy do? Could have a stab at Belgium or Munich.
It closes the door. It closes the door on Italy stealing a cheap dot for sure. So, yeah. But if I were Italy in this position, that army, unless you're going to take Tunis with the fleet and build another fleet, that army in Piedmont doesn't have much of a future. I'd get it the heck out of there and try and take the opportunity to mend some fences and to have a good relationship with France.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose it allows some early diplomatic leverage, I guess, and have some conversations with the Western powers. But yeah, you might turn around here, hey?
You know, we'll get to well, we'll go ahead and jump to England now, okay? Because it'll okay. tie back in. It'll tie back into Italy, okay? Because there's one move that England might possibly be making that would make that army in Piedmont very valuable, and we'll get to that in a second. But England did the most aggressive anti-French open that you can do. And yeah, you move the channel. Okay, moving the channel is moving to the channel. It's never French friendly. Sometimes there's reasons you arrange it, but they never involve England dropping that army down into Wales. Fleet London to English Channel, Army Liverpool to Wales. That is one of the largest middle fingers in the game for Spring 01. It's nasty. It's mean. I'm sure Greg's not happy about it.
Yeah, that's they must have discussed the channel. So and if he knows that Jordan's going there, then he doesn't. He's got to bounce it surely. So this must have been deception, right?
There's reasons for France to say, I know he's going to the channel, I don't care. There are gambits you can do where it works out okay. Most of them don't involve the army in Wales though. So
yeah.
The problem for France is, if you make the decision in Spring 01, okay, I'm going to bounce the channel, you are giving up a build. You're giving up a build. The only way you could bounce the channel and still get two builds in 1901 as France is if you do Marseille to Spain, Portugal to Gascony, Spain to Portugal, Gascony to Spain. And to any new players who are watching this video hoping to learn something, that is not a good move. If you think, oh, I can cover the channel and still pick up two builds, you're not looking forward, because an army in Portugal is worthless unless you've got fleets in place to convoy it somewhere.
I mean, you wouldn't have wanted to do that with Venice to Piedmont happening.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
And then you also run the risk that Munich walks into Burgundy then as well, and that's a very weak position. You've got to be quite confident in your relationships with Germany and Italy, and very anti-England, I suppose, to do that.
That's the genius. That's the genius to force in Burgundy. That's the genius of forcing Burgundy. It eliminates Germany and Italy as a threat. The downside to it is it leaves you soft against England. And I'm a little bit surprised that Greg was willing to say, okay, I'm going to make a move that might or might not aggravate Germany and leave myself soft against the guy who has been engaging in colorful commentary about me for over a year.
Maybe this is, retribution for kick him in the rear in cartoon form. Maybe he's got a bruise in the seat of his pants. He's like, right, I'm going to English Channel and Wales.
To use a frequently coined phrase, the shoe is on the exact other foot on this map.
Yeah. Oh boy. Have you ever seen much of the force in Burgundy coupled with Brest to English Channel, or is that a poor set of moves?
Well, what you got to look at here most is what is England going to do with Fleet Channel, Army, Wales.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you got a few options. One of those options I'll put out there right now. Okay, because it ties back to Italy being in Piedmont. Okay, France is going to do something with that fleet. He's either going to go to Portugal or he's going to cover Brest. All right. His other option theoretically is to go to Spain because he uses Marseille for something. He uses Marseille to hold because he does something else with Burgundy. All right. But whatever that fleet does, it's not staying in Mayo. So one of the things that England could do here, and you see him do it every once in a while, is he can move English Channel to Mayo. It's a dangerous move because if France turns around and gets two builds anyway, all you've done is set yourself up for a retreat. It is a very interesting way to do a fast, hidden Western triple. If England drops down into Mayo and then France dislodges him, it gives England the opportunity to retreat to West Med and really make Italy have a bad day. Okay. Now, are Jordan and Greg capable of that level of advanced planning and deception and subterfuge? Yes, they definitely are. Okay. But if that's not what's going on and it's something more conventional, he's still got to figure out what to do with those units. Okay. If he's not going to Mayo and he's not going to North, you got three places in play. You got Brest, you got Picardy, and you got Belgium. And when I'm in that position, my favorite move, in absence of diplomacy that pushes me in some other direction, my favorite thing to do there is to convoy down into Picardy, because that is the most likely move to succeed. Is Brest going to be covered? Maybe, maybe not. Is someone going to Belgium? I guarantee you someone's going to Belgium. But Picardy's got a really, really strong chance of being open. And England convoying into Picardy is just as devastating as Germany convoying into Livonia, or Italy convoying into Syria, or later on in the game, if France gets into Mayo and then convoys an army into Clydesdale. Getting that army convoyed into Picardy is devastating. If there is not an FG. If there's an FG, all a convoy to Picardy does is set you up for a dislodge and a pop. So it'll be interesting to see what Jordan does here. I think what he's going to do probably is convoy into Picardy.
So there's a difficulty here. Not only does Ewok have a guess with the fleet, whether it goes to Brest or Portugal, but also with the armies. I mean, does Burgundy try and cover from the convoy if it's to Picardy or Belgium, or does it need to cover Marseille? Does he then give up Spain? This is actually a bit of a headache, isn't it, for France?
This is all about Ed. What France does here is going to be totally determined by Ed, the relationship that he has with Ed, what Ed says he's going to do, what promises Ed makes. Burgundy has no reason to not cover Marseille, because whatever goes on here, France does not want to build a fleet in Marseille. He has no need to build a fleet in Marseille. He's got bigger fish to fry. So he doesn't need to keep Marseille open. So since he doesn't need to keep Marseille open to build a fleet, your only choice there is, does Burgundy go play around in Belgium and take a chance at picking it up? Or does he cover Marseille? And I'm not saying that I wouldn't be surprised if Greg plays some chicken here. As a matter of fact, whether it's with Italy or with England, my prediction right now is he's going to play chicken with one of them or the other.
Okay.
He's either not going to cover Brest, or he's not going to cover Marseille. Okay. Because if he covers Brest, say he covers Brest, and Burgundy covers Marseille, and Marseille goes to Spain, he gets one build. Okay. And say Jordan does what I said, which is convoys into Picardy. Now he's got a fleet in Brest, an army in Spain, an army in Marseille. He's got no choice. He's got to build an army in Paris. Okay. So Marseille can sit there and babysit Marseille while Spain goes and takes Portugal, but he's still getting another build, but it's a really, really, really slow tempo. So if France hasn't secured Germany, or at least gotten assurance from Ed that no, there's not an EG, France cannot afford to move that slowly.
Yeah.
So
if it is an EG, I mean, if it is an EG, he's not getting Belgium anyway, France, right? You say this is all about Ed. Let's talk about Ed.
Okay.
He can kind of choose here. He just maybe he knew about this force in Belgium, in Burgundy, pardon me. He didn't even move there. So although we've been saying this is a great move set from France, given the fact that Jimmy didn't go there, it's kind of rendered obsolete. So what do you expect Ruhr to do now? Does it try and bounce France out of Belgium? Does it support England to Belgium? Does he cover Munich from France? Does he try and move into Burgundy? I don't. There's options here for that one army.
This is the blind spot. This is a lot like, well, what's Turkey going to do with that fleet in black? You cannot tell from looking at this map. What Ed is going to do with the army in Ruhr is based entirely on his diplomacy. Okay? So this is definitely not a Western triple open. It's just not. Okay? So we know it's not a Western triple. So Ed has to worry about either England or France. So he is not guaranteed to get Belgium. He's not guaranteed to get Belgium. Now, if he can play up the conflict between England and France, if he can convince France that, oh, I know what England's doing, he's convoying to Picardy, you should bounce him. He can talk his way into Belgium. He can talk his way into Belgium. But I have some insight here. I have forced Burgundy and then walked into Munich on Ed either 2 or 3 times. So I'll be very curious to see if Ed has learned and knows that he has to cover Munich, or if he's going to keep playing Russian roulette. I suspect, based on the things that Ed has said after he watched himself get torn up in Munich a couple times, he's probably going to cover Munich. And based on if the tension between England and France is real and not fake, it's very possible that Belgium will end up unowned at the end of 1901. And if Ed does cover Munich and Belgium does get claimed by somebody, it's probably getting claimed by England.
Via a convoy.
Via a convoy. Because nothing in the world is more sad than a fleet in Belgium. Unless it's the end of the game and you're setting up a stalemate line against aggression from the south, a fleet in Belgium is always the wrong move.
Although, you know, I've heard it said before that Belgium is where English armies go to die. So is an army that much better? I suppose you need to make sure you're in an alliance with one of them.
Well, that brings me to my favorite joke. A big part of the diplomacy in the West in 1901 is always asking, can I have Belgium? Can I have Belgium? Can I have Belgium? People always ask the wrong question. That's the wrong question. The right question is, can I keep Belgium? And if England or France ends up in Belgium, they're not going to keep it. Not looking at this map being what it is, the way it is. Unless this is a very well concealed EF, whichever one of them takes Belgium is not going to keep it.
Interesting. So yeah, lots of juicy stuff on the board. Is there anything else you want to point out?
I think the most interesting thing Ed has to decide here is whether or not he lets Russia into Sweden.
Ed seems to be the kind of player. I think he said before he normally likes. He needs a good reason to not let Russia have.
Okay.
Sweden.
All right. Well, those Turkish moves were gnarly, and it puts Russia in a really tough spot. So letting him have Sweden, A, it buys you goodwill with the Russian. B, it helps with board balance. C, it makes life very unpleasant for an England who just went full gun south.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if this is an AIT, if Austria and Turkey are working together, then you do want to prop up Russia to an extent, don't you? Until you go and get their dots.
If I'm Germany here, I the old me bounces them, because the old me always bounces Sweden because no one gets anything for free.
Why does that not surprise me?
The new me, the emerging me, I'm still trying to break out of my chrysalis. Okay, I'm still
Eric
trying
2.0.
to bust open that cocoon. The new me probably lets Russia into Sweden at this point.
Well, I think I'd be surprised if there's a bounce. I think. Meanwhile, Russia's got to be quite happy with the English opening. You know, there's not going to be an army in Norway, and there's only one unit there. Nothing's coming over the top. I mean, I guess we don't know what units England will have in the start of next year, but it seems like Russia is okay in the north.
I would guess that Russia did not know that England was going to open to the channel, or at least he didn't feel certain that England was going to open to the channel. All right. He's got one way or the other. He's got a lot of trust with Turkey down here. That bounce in Armenia, that's you and Turkey have good lines of communication, and you think you've got, whether you're right or not, you think you've got a good sense of what's going on. Okay. So if you're Russia and you know England is opening to the south, and you've got a good relationship with Turkey, you do what you can to get a good relationship with Austria, and you send Moscow north. And Moscow didn't go north. So it's very possible that Russia didn't know that England was going to the channel.
I mean, it could be that, but it could also be Karthik determined to open to Galicia, and that they were unable to arrange a DMZ there potentially.
Oh, that's what I said earlier. Without knowing what's going on diplomatically, just looking at the map, spring 1901 usually tells you very, very little. We'll know a lot more after the fall.
Interesting. Well, I look forward to that. I believe it's going to adjudicate in the next couple of hours. In the meantime,
for us to view, not for our viewers.
Pardon?
Well, I guess they can go check out the map, but they won't get our commentary until after.
Oh, for us, yeah. But this will go up. These videos are going up after the following turn, so this won't go up. Well, in case our wonderful insights will potentially influence these superior players.
Well, since I'll start talking about stalemate lines in like 1904 or so, someone who wants to listen and get advice from me is going to benefit from it on that board if that's the way they want to go. But in a game that ends in 1910, I'm probably the only guy worrying about stalemate lines.
Let's have a look. There's been chatter already about these opening moves in the Nexus Discord server. So let's have a look at some of these. These are a few of my favorites here. We've got Riaz initially feeling bad for France, and then realized it was his arch nemesis who pipped him to victory in the last season. That amuses me.
Riaz, he knew who was who. Riaz is such a nice guy. Even when he dumps on you, he sounds nice, and that's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. He knew.
Is he the anti-Eric? Is that what we're saying? Whereas even when you're being nice, you're mean.
I have tried his patience just to see whether or not I can tick him off, and the answer is no, I can't.
What else we've got? We've got a few from Sabi here. First of all, they're trying to name that move, that bounce between Fleet Sev and Army Smyrna in Armenia. The Armenian fist bump seems to be what Sabi is trying to push. What do you think of that name?
Well, you heard my commentary on it, and everyone should get a recording device or a piece of paper. They need to record this, because I agree with Sabi 100%. Don't do this bounce in Armenia stuff. Don't. What did Russia get out of it? Nothing. Turkey got to open Sunstrom, and I got to bring up opening Sunstrom. I got to name it properly. I got to give my due respects to the Chicago hobby, because they've all treated me so well for so long, all these years. I got to give my respects to Chicago. So when you see Fleet Ank to Black Sea and you see Army Smyrna to Armenia, the only thing to call it is opening Sunstrom. And if you can't remember Sunstrom, just say Chicago style, because that's what that open is. Turkey got to open Chicago style. They didn't take any chances whatsoever. And
should I just call it the Crimean Crusher then, just to annoy all the weasels out there? Shout out to Matt Sundstrom.
Well, it's using that terminology is certainly timely with current events. But
well, quite.
I agree with Sabi. I would never agree to that as Russia. I never would.
Sabi is a big fan of that. Let's call it the Armenian fist bump.
Am I reading
mostly
their
as
comments
Turkey.
incorrectly?
As Turkey.
As Turkey, yeah. Yeah, as Turkey, I always say yes. And as Turkey, I always turn around and move to Black Sea. Yes.
Look at that. My Turkish opening gospel has been heard.
Well, I agree with Sabi. Sabi, you are 100% correct. Nothing but respect.
I feel I'm getting lightheaded with shock here. Interesting one here from Bobo Natale at the bottom. I think we're going to have surprises on the channel front. I wonder what tricks there may be.
I'm calling it right now, man. I'll bet you a quid. All right. Jordan's going to convoy to Picardy. That's my big, bold prediction.
All right, I'll take that quiz.
All right. I'll just have to go to a money changer if I lose. That's all.
Okay, and there's something else I want to show as well. We've had all this wonderful art at the start of the show from Lady Razor. Thank you, Matt, for all of those. They are fab. Might have to get one in a clip frame or something. But you may have been outdone, I'm afraid, because Tarsia has posted this. Tarsia says, Lady Razor, my son Max thought your drawings were very good and he wanted to try some too. I told him to start with turkey. And yes, the caption, I am John and I eat dog poop sick, SIC and SICK, and lie to people. There's a nice, I'm assuming that's a steaming turd in John's hand. And what do you make of this?
All right, Christopher, next time we do the rest of this game, if I ever try and jump on a show without doing prep and reviewing the slides, you remind me I said no, okay? I'm glad I did not have a drink in my mouth because I'd have destroyed my laptop, all right? That's funny stuff. Now, did a child really draw that? I don't know. I know I had my son doing objectionable things like that at that age, but I'm going to tell you this. If a child did draw that, I guarantee you, based on the content, that was a commission job. And that is Hunter Biden level art right there, and I got nothing but respect.
Is it a drawing or is it a photograph? Jordan points out just how much like John it looks. So well done, Max. Well, that has entertained us thoroughly. Wow, well, what an interesting spring 1901. I'm looking forward to the fall now and see just how wrong we were.
I tell you what, this is my first time doing game commentary. I am so glad I did not win my semifinal game because I'm having a blast.
Did you consider that? I'm glad I didn't get destroyed by you. So
I'm glad I don't have to play you again anytime soon.
Yeah, look out for our videos when we go over that and the other semi-finals to see how our 6 of the best and Ed Sullivan made it to this final. For now, we will leave you with these spring 1901 moves. Any final thoughts, Eric?
I'm really looking forward to going through. We're going to go through and do commentary on how each of these players on this board got through their semifinal round to get here so that people have ongoing coverage as this game goes on, so they're not waiting on deadlines. And I'm looking forward to doing it because I think every single guy here on this board is a real blast to play with. And Greg, he's okay sometimes too.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you after Fall 01 has adjudicated. We look forward to that. If there are any retreats, we'll let those go through first, I think.
Our first semifinal game is going to be Apple, and I think that'll be posted sometime soon, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll have to do this soon, maybe in a minute. So for now, from Eric and me, goodbye.
Thanks for coming, folks.